You've heard it from the profession himself. He says there is money in the industry. So if at all you're there and you're being discouraged by someone, please do enroll in SM School of Music. We shall guide you the right way. Now, you know, when it comes to the industry, it needs creativity. Yeah, creativity. And as a profession in the industry, how would you encourage students to express their creativity and unique vision?
What I normally say is that school or training or education teaches you the skill. You learn the skill, the basics of how to apply these things, and the rest remains to the creativity. What I learned is that different individuals express themselves differently. Every student that we get to have has watched movies, has watched music videos, has watched so many productions, so many content, and they have their own perspective to how that content is. I usually see it in the editing classes, whereby I give students the same material, and everyone has a way they express themselves differently with the same material. So what I normally say is that video production or film and video production is a way of expressing yourself in your perspective. So when you are telling a story, when you are telling a visual story, you have your instinct, you have your intuition of how you want to see things. Follow that, like your instinct of how do you want to see something happening. Because the way you want to see it is how you should tell it. That's the whole thing. The way you want to see the edit is how you should cut it. The way you want to see that shot is how you should shoot it, and so on, basing on the different shots you've seen, the different videos you've watched, because you're inspired by what you see. You're inspired by the reality and what is existing in the industry. So the one way to counter that is express yourself the way you feel. Then after that, you watch your work, you're like, okay, did I feel the right way? Did I feel not the right way? Then learn from that mistake, go back and redo again. Keep on repeating, because production is repeating ourselves over and over until we perfect it. So creativity comes from how do you want to express yourself, based on what you've learned, what you have seen, what you've been inspired by. Because if you're inspired by, if you're inspired by social vibes, for example, you'll watch what social vibes does, and you pick an instinct of how you want to think like social vibes, and you still start making work that is like first social vibes. Then after learning how to make social vibes work, then you start to reinvent the wheel in the way you express yourself. Because if you've copied someone, the rest comes down to how do you make yours differently a bit. That's where creativity comes from, because everyone is inspired by something, but then you calm down, because all of us were inspired by, let me say, some Hollywood movies we used to watch in the early 2000s and the 90s. Now we try to replicate that. So be inspired, then recreate what you've been inspired by, then you come up with a piece. So don't you be there and be like you do something out of nothing. It's okay as an artist to be inspired, replicate, then recreate. That's the way to get things done. Because everything has been done before. There's nothing new you're gonna do.
You just need to be unique in what you do.
Yes.
Wow. Now here comes the question, and it's all about technology. Technology is evolving. How can our students here at SM School of Music cope up with the trending technologies which are used in the film and video production, from softwares, the equipment? How can you best advise them?
One thing that SM is trying to do is that it's trying to also upgrade as technology is upgrading, so students are usually getting the updated information and maybe resource material. But there are people who you'll find that are still locked in a certain understanding of technology. They'll be like, I work with this gadget, I work with that gadget. But what I can advise any student is that the world is changing at a very faster rate. I think from 2018 to now, things have been moving way faster than before. The world is moving very fast, and you must learn with it, move with it. So as you're learning, I usually tell students that at the end of every lesson, not what the teacher has been talking about, make more research about it. Go Google about it, go research about it, and be able to see more information, because there is more to every information that we actually share. So if you don't try to keep yourself updated and you only wait for what you're given in class, and you don't look at adding on by researching and finding out more, you're going to be staying in one circle. How come I talk about writing and I only have 90 minutes to talk about writing? But writing, there are people who study writing for 3 years. You understand? When they are studying specifically writing. At SM, you're studying everything at once in one full year. So if I speak about writing in 90 minutes, and I'm not going to come back to writing again after those 90 minutes, that means that you have to use your time to make more research based on what I talked about to add more to your understanding. You understand? Because what you received in those 90 minutes may not be sufficient, but it's the overall guide you get. But then when you make more research, you learn more of these other details that I mentioned about, but you didn't quite understand, but your research helps you. And that's how you cope up with the technology, because on the internet, you're going to be able to find more information. Now, what do you get from school? You can Google these things maybe, but what you get from school is the proper guidance. You know, there is something that they say wisdom and knowledge. They are different. When you Google, you're getting knowledge, not wisdom. Now, why do you come to school? You come to school to be trained to get wisdom. What do I mean? They said knowledge with application is wisdom. So that knowledge, you're taught how to apply it the right way and why, to be able to be wise. You can have as much knowledge, you can read all the film books in the world, and you still fail at your career. But the time you get to be in a school or trained by a mentor or an instructor, you will get wiser. And that's when you will start to change your lifestyle and become better at production. So technology is very good, but you must be trained on how to use it wisely, because everyone can access it. Everyone can own a computer. Like they say, it's not always the picture that you see, but the mind behind the camera. You get. So you will see the camera like, oh, this is a red camera. I'll use it. You shoot with your red cameras that are actually trending right now. And you have a very poor image. But get someone who doesn't even know how to use a red camera, but they know how to use their black magic very well. They'll shoot better images than you, who has a red camera actually could have done a better job. So it's about learn how to use technology. Be very much on that. Even if you find, like I usually get students that ask me questions in class. I usually have a moment of, okay, ask me anything that is actually not about the class right now, about the lesson. They ask you questions of, okay, teacher, I saw this and this and this. What do you think about this? I saw this, this and this. What do you think about it? That's how we be able to improve. But for as long as you don't have the right application of your knowledge, you always see AI. You know, people have AI right now, but they don't even know how to use it. But if you know how to use AI, you become a better creative. So it's learn how to use these things. That's it. Get the right training, consult. Google alone doesn't help you, even if things are there. Yeah.
So it all goes back down to guidance.
Exactly.
Right. Now let us shift our focus to SM as an institution. Could you give us a glimpse of the curriculum at SM School of Music, and what are the key components that make the course here more unique than...
Yeah, well, what I find very interesting about SM's curriculum is that, let me say the whole syllabus per se, it's trying to approach production in a general way, that students here learn how to work in film, they learn how to work in TV, they learn how to work in the commercial production world. That is commercial production. I'm talking about music videos, I'm talking about adverts, and so on, educational materials and stuff, skits and so on. Now, other institutions don't usually have that opening that you can learn how to, here you learn how to edit a film, edit a TV show, edit a music video, documentary, and the likes. You learn how to write each of these. You learn how to run each of these separately, so that when you finish studying, you pick where you want to go, but you have a knowledge of how each of these 3 dimensions of videos actually operate. You learn development, you learn pre-production, you learn production, you learn post-production. So everything comes into play. So at the end of it all, you are able to address production in a general manner. You get that's the most special thing I've seen here, that students will live here when they can survive in the industry, depending on where they pick to go. That's the thing.
Wow. Well, it's a pleasure. It has been a pleasure talking to you, Mr. Samuel, and your insights are undoubtedly going to benefit many of the aspiring professionals out there. But before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts or message you would like to share to our viewers today?
Yeah, well, what I can say is that whoever is watching, whether you're a student or not a student, or if you want to take this as a career, you want to run a career in film and television production, depending on where you want to be, of all the departments that actually exist. It's important. Learning never ends, but get training first. Then experiment. So learn a few skills from an institution like SM School of Music, then go out and start experimenting and keep on evolving and evolving. And this is the right industry to be in. Why? Every time you turn on your phone, there are videos you want to watch on social media, on different platforms. Someone makes those videos, okay? And what does that mean? You can actually be that someone who is employed to make those videos or is paid to make those videos. You understand? So we are living in a very visual world right now. The world is so creative right now that everyone who goes back at home, they will turn on a movie. They will turn on a TV program. They will turn on a music video on their TVs, on their devices. They will watch something. Screens are everywhere nowadays. Before, it used to be just for the TV screen, but now we have tablets, we have laptops, we have iPads, we have phones, we have so many things. And those things need content. And who makes that content? You could be that person. So that means that this is the right field for you to be in. Come to SM, be at SM, learn, go experiment, and keep on upgrading and become a content creator in your own dimension. The future is bright. You're on the right track. Just keep on being consistent. From consistency, determination, and keeping on evolving, you'll be able to make it. This is the right industry. To get it from me, who is actually working in it. Yeah.
Well, this has been an enlightening conversation with Samuel Saviour, an expert in the field of film and video production. We appreciate you for sharing your wisdom and experiences with our audience today, and we are certain that there are many aspiring filmmakers that find advice extremely beneficial, and we thank you for joining us today. Now that's all for today, folks. Stay tuned for more insightful conversations on our career guidance sessions. Bye.